Very good morning. Today we are going to recap on robot kinematics. Last two classes we have seen what is transformation matrix, what is robot kinematics in very brief. So this particular recap will give little more, you can say, detailing about that. And before actually going to see that in detail, so let me actually start what we are going to focus. So this particular entire course we would be focusing on rigid body. In the sense, if you given any 2 points, the distance between these 2 points will not get changed at any point of time. In other sense, you can say that the deflection of the body, which is we consider as 0. So that is what we call rigid. In nature, there is no such rigid body exists, but we will actually make one of the simplification that all the body considered as a rigid body in robot dynamics, or you call robotic manipulators or robotic system. But these definitions in detail, and as well as why we are doing robot dynamics with the consideration of rigid body and all, we will discuss when we are talking about robot dynamics. Right now we are actually focusing on robot kinematics. In the sense, we'll see what robot kinematics is actually as you can say similar to a general physics. So in the sense, study of motion, but what all about that we will see. So we all know the physics will be having a two classification. One is statics. So in the sense, there is no motion or the motion is constant throughout. Then we can say that the motion change with respect to time, that is what we call dynamics. So even this dynamics is having further classification. So one what we are actually going to see in this course in the first few lectures, and the second part we would be seeing the kinetics. Okay. So the kinematics is nothing but you can see this is study of motion without considering the cause of motion, whereas kinetics is actually like a study of motion with considering the cause of motion. In the sense, so here we will bring the inertia and you can say forces. So here we will not consider anything. So in the sense, this is simply study of motion. Okay. So that's what we are actually focus. So now what robot kinematics all about? Robot kinematics is study of motion. Further, since robot or robotic system is actually like a multi-body system, so that is one case. Several thing is this particular robotic system can be represented into several, you can say, coordinate system and several you call variable system. So in the sense, you need to map one to another. So the robot kinematics is actually not only study of motion, it is further mapping of two spaces or two coordinate systems. Okay, that is very specific in the sense, since it is multi-body system, that one body to another body, the transformation or you can say the mapping we need to do. That is what the whole idea. So now we will actually see little more. And I am just giving a small you can say information or note here. So at least a few further classes we will not be even touching the real time system. In the sense, the real robots we will not see at least next few lectures. So these few lectures would be talking about more on mathematical background on this particular robotic manipulator. In the sense, the kinematics and dynamics aspect of these systems we are going to see. This is one of the important aspect, so that anyone who want to design or you can say select a manipulator on shelf or design by their own. So these information would be helpful. For example, I have one KUKA robo I purchased. The KUKA robo is having a teach pendant box where it says x plus, x minus, y plus, y minus, alpha plus, alpha minus and all. So the robot does not know, right? You just press this button, then that would be moving in that particular axis, whatever addition or you can say increment or decrement. But what happening inside actually, there are several joints, that joints will activate in such a way that it move on that particular incremental or decremental displacement, right? So these all information we should know. So what inside the robotic controller is playing, all those things you should know. Okay, so that's what one idea. And second idea, I did not show any video here, but the robo or you can say robotic system, there are several achievements happened, but there are several failures also happened. Why that is getting failed or why it is getting successful? So these all actually like having one simple what you call that mathematical background, right? That is what the focus. So now come back to a general case. So I just want to differentiate. So this is one of the you call serial manipulator where, so this is I call gripper end, or you can say end effector end. So this is body 1 which is I call ground, and this is body 2 which is I call link 1, and this is body 3 which is I call link 2. Okay, the distance between the I call frame 1, 2, okay, this is ground, this is I call frame 0, and this is what the called tool point or the point of interest. Okay, so now the same thing I can actually like show it in other way around. So there are actually like ground. Okay, so then I can see that, okay, so now you can see that these are actually like joints. So this is I call 0th frame, and there is 1 frame, 2, okay, and 3, 5 and 4. This 0th frame for time being you can actually like avoid, but you can see that this is you can say link 1, this is link 2, link 3, link 4, link 5. So now I am interested in you can say understanding the system. So we'll come back what is degree of freedom. So what degree of freedom? Degree of freedom is actually like minimum number of variables to describe system motion. I am talking in terms of mechanics in unique. Okay, so if that is the case, here actually like what would be the system motion? The system motion would be described with a certain coordinate system. I assume that, so this is the Cartesian coordinate system where z axis coming out. This is actually like called you can say x0, and this is y0, and similarly I assume this is x0 and this is y0. Okay, so I want to actually like describe the position of this. Okay, so the px and py I am interested. So then you can see that, so the system description of this 2 serial manipulator, how many variable required to describe. So I can directly write what is px and py. So in this case also I said this is the point of interest. So you can see that here also like I can write px and py, but this px py I can even write in other way form. So I can write that this is actually like having a theta 1 as the joint angle between, you can see, link 0 to link 1, and the angle between link 1 to link 2 I call theta 2. Now you can see that there is other way also I can describe, as long L1 and you can say L2 are constants. So here, so L1 to L5, or you can say in the sense L1, L2, L3, yeah, L5 are constants. Then you can see that this also like can be described. So in the sense here you can see like there is theta 1 and theta 2. Here I call I'll just draw it in a different way. So this I call theta 1, and this I call theta 2, this I call, okay, this I call theta 4, and this I call theta 3. Okay, so now you can see that here you can see that at least 4 variables are coming, right? Theta 1, theta 2, theta 3, theta 4. But if you are looking at this configuration, it's a closed loop and this is open loop. So what one can see, this theta 3 and theta 4 are not direct quantity, as long I assume that the motor fixed here. Okay, so in the sense what happening, this theta 3 and theta 4 are dependent variable with respect to theta 1 and theta 2. In the sense here also you can see that the number of variable to describe this system unique sense, there are 2. Either I can write directly px py or theta 1 theta 2. Here the number of variable to describe in the system is either theta 1 and theta 2 or px and py, right? In the sense you can see here the degree of freedom is actually like 2, right? So this is one thing. And what is degree of manipulability? The degree of manipulability is actually like in terms of active joints, right? So here now, just for understanding, I am just giving a small aspect. Say that I am fixing only one motor here, and I am actually like making a free. So it's like a double inverted pendulum where this is only actuated. Even though this actuated due to the dynamic coupling or kinematic configuration, this theta 2 also would vary. So in the sense, when I want to describe this point, I need two variable theta 1 and theta 2, but this theta 2 is not independent variable, right? So in the sense, you can see the degree of manipulability is here 1, but the degree of freedom is 2. So that's why I said not all the manipulator would be having the degree of manipulability is equivalent to degree of freedom. Okay, so that is what I want to give clarity here. So now we will come back what we are interested. So for that I am taking a simple you call serial manipulator. Okay, so you know like this is theta 2 and this is theta 1 with respect to x 0 axis and with respect to y 0 axis, right? So what we said, theta 1 and theta 2 is one set of variable, and px py is another set of variable where you can describe the system in unique sense, right? So that is what we were saying. But what this point is actually like, this is the operating point, right? So what is this L1 and L2 and associated with theta 1 and theta 2? This is the way the system configured in order to get this px py, or the system if it is configured L1 theta 1 and L2 theta 2 as this way, this will give px py, right? So in the sense, you can see that this is actually like L1 and L2 are constant, then the configuration, or you can say this entire system, how it is dependent, it dependent on theta 1 and theta 2. So now these are the set of variable which is describing the configuration. So it is called configuration variable. So since it is set of variable, I call that is space. This is configuration space. So this is actually like working, or you can say looking at the operating end. So this operating end, since it is in a planar, that too like we are seeing the positional information. So now these are two set of variable, or you can say it's a set of variable. So that is actually like defining the operating end. So this is actually like related to the operation. So this is what we call operational space. So now the robot kinematics is not only study of motion, it is mapping between this configuration space to the operating, or you can say operational space. So you know like if you know this and you want to find what this, then that is what you call forward kinematics. And you know this point and you want to know what would be theta 1 and theta 2, that is what you call inverse kinematics. So I'll just give little more detail here. Okay, so now I take L1 and L2 are constant, and I know that this is the fixed end, that is also like I assume that x0 and y0 is given, and now I am actually like saying that, so once the theta 1 and theta 2 given, so what we will do, we will take L1 as the link and we fix it with theta 1 as the angle, right? And theta 2 is given, then you take L2 as the link and you put it in the point, this is 1 and 2, and you fix it, arrange it like that, right? So now what you are doing? You are doing assembly operation, right? You are taking one by one and you are assembling in such a way that what will happen to this point P. So now this is Px Py. So now what you are doing? So you are actually like seeing these two variables are known, and you are looking at what would be the Px Py in such a way that you arrange it. So this is what you are doing. So that is what we call the forward kinematics, we simply call assembly mode. Okay, so this is what we call forward kinematics. So now we'll see the other way around, where you know the starting point, which is I call x0 and y0 is known, and L1 and L2 are constants. Okay, these are constant. Now out of interest, I am giving a point Px and Py. So now you can see that these are known. I am trying to see how to work in such a way that to reach. So for that, what we can take L1 as the distance, or you can say radius, and you call this 1 as the center, and you draw a circle, and take L2 as the, you can say, radius, and PXPY as the center, and you draw another circle. Okay. Now whatever this intersection, that are the point which is actually like 2. So now if I actually like complete this, you can see. So now this is what you call theta 1, and this is what you call theta 2, right? So now what you have done, you are actually like from the known quantity, and you are trying to find out the configuration. So what's the known quantity? So here operational space is known, and you are trying to find out what would be the configuration space. So in the sense, you can see that, so there are two ways of getting configuration. Right. So what you are doing here? So you are actually like working, right? So that's what it is called, working mode, and some straightforward definition, it is inverse kinematics. Okay. So that is what we were actually like trying to give as an interest. So in the sense, you can see the operational space and the configuration space. So if you know this, and you want to find out what would be the operational space, that is what we call forward kinematics, and whereas you are actually like doing the other way around, this is actually like inverse kinematics. Okay. As for the French or the European side, so the kinematics means it is all velocity related. So what we are doing is, this forward kinematic model is actually like forward geometrical model. Inverse kinematics means it's actually like inverse geometrical model. Okay, as per them. But we are using actually like US and westernization, in the sense US and British English speaking base. So in the sense, forward kinematics means simple geometrical model where positional information mapping. Okay. So this is what we call mapping. So this mapping is the important core for the robot kinematics. Now you got a clarity like what is robot kinematics. Now we will go little far. What little far in the sense? So we will little more understand. So I already said, so the bodies. So the bodies we simply call as a simplification, which is we call links, and the other one is actually like the joints, that I call constraints. So just to give a small clarity, you see I take two parts. So this is body 1 and body 2. I take a hole, I take a hole and put it. Okay. So this is actually like integral part now. So now what I have taken, two boxes I have taken. One box I actually like make a through hole. The other box actually like I put that through hole with a pin. So now the pin is actually like rigidly fixed on the part 1. Now what happened to the part 2? The part 2 is having little larger you can say hole, so that the pin is actually like having a reference, and according to this pin, I just show you in the top view. So according to the this particular pin, so this can actually like rotate freely, but that cannot come out, or that cannot go this way. So this motion is not possible, this motion is not possible, this lateral motion is not possible, and this rotation is not possible. Okay, and individual rotation also not possible. So in the sense, so only the rotation about this own axis is possible. Then what it is doing, it is arresting phi, okay, and it is allowing only one. Okay, such joints, what we call, it is 1D of joints. Okay, so in the sense of what it is doing, it is constraining phi. Okay, or you can say it is arresting 5 more motions. So that's why it is called constraints. And any body, if you are actually like making in a actually like configuration basis, the body is supposed to associate with another body. So now this association, what it is, we are going to call as joints. Okay, so now you can see in that sense the joints further classify into several way. Okay, the joints can be actually like based on the contact region, then it is called lower pairs or higher pair. So what that mean? The name says higher and lower, don't immediately bring it. So higher pair means it is actually like a point or line contact. Okay, lower pair means it's the area contact. So then the name is not really replicating, right? What really replicating in the sense the lower pair and higher pair, the transmission of the motion, right? The motion is actually like happening in a larger area, or you can say narrowed line or point. In the sense the force transmitted would be higher in the you can say higher pair and lower in the lower pair. Okay, this is one way of classifying joints. The other way of classification joint is actually like what I said earlier. So there is a single degree of freedom joint, double degree of freedom joint, triple degree of freedom joint, like that. But general way the joints are having several form. So one is actually like you can see a rotary joint, simply we call pin joint or revolute joint. So the other one is actually like prismatic, it is making a prismatic, the sense prisms, so which is we call linear joint or sometimes translation joint. Then there are several joints which is we call helical. So helical also like certain way we call 2D of joints. This is 1D of, this is also 1D of. The helical can be written as 2D of if you are considering the rotation, but mostly the screw pair. So screw pair we consider as 1D of, where you can see this is what I call screw and you have a nut. This nut would be having a bearing, in the sense a collar, then it would be having only linear way. So then we can say that the screw pair would be a simple linear joint as well. Okay, so this is one side. So now we'll come back the other side where we can actually like have a universal joint. So where you can see there is a okay, so there are actually two, you can say, cup that you call simple U-shaped cup that we have connected with the two cups like this. Now what it is going to give, this and this have a independent rotation, in the sense it can rotate like this and it can rotate its own axis, in the sense it is 2R joint. Okay, so this is also 2 degree of freedom joint. Then you can come back with the cylindrical. So cylindrical means what? It can actually like have a translation and as well as rotation. So this is also like a 2D of joints. Then you can see that you have a ground, you have a box. Okay, this box can actually like have translation both side and rotated, right? It is we call planar joint. It is 3D of joint. And further, you know, like spherical ball. So you know, like there is a cup and the ball. So now I assume that this is what the cup. This cup is having, you can see like based on this ball, it can have 3 rotary possible, in the sense 3 orientation is possible. So in the sense this is also like 1 3D of joints, right? So these are very basic idea. So now you got it clear. And when you are talking about multi-body, so one part to another part, it is actually like keep on going. So now when we are talking about degree of freedom in simple mechanics, so it is actually like a number of, you can say, minimum number of variable to describe the system. Now, so I am taking one part in space. So how many variable to describe? Then immediately we need to have a reference. That reference I assume that ground. Okay, so now how many bodies are there? This the ground is 1 and this is 2. So this ground is fixed. So in the sense you can see that this part with respect to ground can be referred with some reference on this point and this point. Then you can see, so 3 translation and 3 orientations are coming, in the sense 6 variables are required, right? So in the sense you can see that the number of bodies here is 2. In that, number of grounds are actually like 1, And how many degrees of freedom here? It is actually like 6 into n, and one ground is actually like subtracted. So in the sense, you see that 6 into 2 minus 1, which is going to give 6, right? So we'll go forward. So we have, you can say, n bodies. So the n is actually like any. So in the sense, what would be the degree of freedom in mechanics? So which would be 6 into n. And in that there are number of grounds. I assume that the number of grounds always 1, because even you have tin which is grounded, these are all considered as a single part. So in the sense, the number of ground would be having 0 degree of freedom. So in the sense, you can see this is what the total number of degrees of freedom if the n parts or n bodies are freely in the space. So it's a free space. But now I am actually like bringing 1 degrees of freedom joints, which I call J1. So how many motion it is going to arrest? It is going to arrest 5. And how many it allows? Only 1. In the sense, the degree of freedom is actually like having how many? So 6 n minus 1. But how many are actually like associated with 1 degrees of freedom joint? J1. So how many motions are arrested? 5 motions individual part. So in the sense, individual joint. So 5 motions arrested, which I subtract. Okay. Then it is actually like having J1. So that many joints. Now I brought J2 is actually like 2 degrees of freedom joint that arrest 4 and allow 2. Then the degree of freedom is actually like further divide, or you can say coming into 4 subtraction with the number of J2. So similarly, I am bringing J3, which are actually like arresting 3 and allowing 3. So I can actually like make this way, right? Keep on, I can go it. So now this is what the degree of freedom, which is what we call general formulation. But if you are applying this into a serial manipulator, it will actually like properly function. But you have to see what it is happening. So you can see here. Okay. So I am actually like seeing this is one such planar case. Okay. So in this case, it is in the plane. So where Z0 is vertically coming outward, this is L1, L2, L3. So here number of parts are actually like 4, because the ground also 1, and number of J1 joints are actually like you can see 1, 2, 3. But how many motions possible? Even you are actually like taking a free link in a plane. So how many possible? It is 3, right? So in the sense, the degree of freedom for a planar case, it is restricted to 3. So n minus 1 minus you call. So here this J1 is actually like arresting how many? 2 motions, and it is allowing 1. So in this case, in plane, what you can see? So only you can see actually like 1D of joint, 2D of joint, then this is 2D of joints, right? So this is what the general equation for a planar case. You can verify here. So here the D of is here is actually like 3 into 4 minus 1 and 2 into 3. So you can see 9 minus 6, it is having 3, right? So this is what you call degree of freedom. In the sense, this point you want to describe in a plane. So you need actually like 3 variable. The 3 variable can be theta 1, theta 2 and theta 3, or you can write x, y and psi, right? So this is the way we can actually like come back with your degree of freedom and all. So further, I just want to give a small address. So for example, you have 3 frames, right? So I call this A frame, and this is B frame, and this is C frame. So I want to know the information of C with respect to A. Then what we will write? So the information will be like so I will write, so positional information of C with respect to A and rotational information of C with respect to A would be supposed to be known. But what I can actually see, the positional information of B with respect to A is known, and similarly rotational information of B with respect to A is known. Further, I assume that the positional information of, you can see, so the positional information of you can say C with respect to B is known, and rotational information of C with respect to B is known. Okay. So now these are actually like three information which we assume that it is known or given. Now you just imagine there is one simple case. If I want to actually like go forward to C, how can I go? I can go directly like this, or I can actually like go via B, right? So if I am going via B, what would be the positional information addition? So the positional information of C with respect to A would be a vector addition of B with respect to A and you can say C with respect to B, right? Similarly, the rotational information of C with respect to A can be written as the function of, you can see, B with respect to A and C with respect to B. Okay. This is what actually like a general case, but what we have done very simple aspect. We brought transformation matrix. The transformation matrix we can write in the sense like this, where the rotational information is actually like in-house, positional information also in-house, and we assume that this is the case, right? We are actually like making in a general, this would be you can say 0, 1 cross 3, and this is 1 cross 1, which is 1. Okay. So now if I want to have a, you can say that transformation information of C with respect to A, I can go via B. Then what I can do, simply I can multiply these two transformation matrix, right? So this is what we are actually like seeing it. So in the sense what we are actually like doing it, the rotational information would be, you can see, multiplied, and positional information would be addition. That's what going to happen. You can see that is happening or not. So we'll go back here. So this is what I was saying. So now what would be the case? So I multiplied this. So I'm just showing here. So this is rotational. This is C with respect to B. Okay, you multiplied this, what will happen? So this multiply goes here. So what happened? This is RBA, then RCB. Okay, then what you will get here, this is 0 into P, so it won't be there. So when I take this to this, so what will be there? R A B P B C, right? Then you have, so P A B. What is this? This meaning the positional information of C with respect to B, you are transferring into a, you can say, frame A, because this positional information is with respect to B, that you are converting into a positional information of A. That is what you are doing. So further, if you do, this would be the same. Okay. So now you can see that this is simple vector, not vector, you can say simple multiplication of this, and here you can see that the vector addition, that's what this is, you are transferring into a same frame, and this is already in the A frame, and this is you are taking the information to a frame. This is what you are doing it in the transformation operators and all. I hope I have done enough for today's class. So we will actually like see this in detail in the live class, and we'll meet at 9 o'clock. See you then. Bye. Take care. Bye bye.